Gentlemen, we currently sit with the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft.
Hmm.
What should the Chicago Bears do to decide their future?
Alan, you want to go first or you want me to?
I'll go first. I gave you a chance before it didn't work out. And to be quite truthful, nobody cares about the offense anyway. It's not that good.
Okay.
So let's just be honest. Is we can't stop the run and we need help in the middle. So we might as well take Jalen Carter because he's available at number one. He solves all of our problems. And you can build a defense around him. And if for whatever reason you don't like Jalen Carter, we can go Will Anderson, i.e., who I like to call the black TJ Watt.
Black TJ Watt.
Yeah, the black TJ Watt.
Yeah.
So
The in there.
Yeah, exactly. Our secondary is not bad. Our linebackers suck because we traded Roquan. But we sure our D-line will be fine in this division. Jalen Carter at number one.
I have two different ways to argue this point that you are making. I think the smash mouth pick is obviously to go defense because that's the area of our team that needs the most work. However, when you have a generational talent like Bryce Young sitting at quarterback that's available at the number one overall pick, and we know we can trade Justin Fields to a team like Atlanta and get a haul of draft picks back, or maybe Pittsburgh or some other team that needs a surefire quarterback that fits their system.
But you can't get a haul. Nobody's going to give you a haul.
I think we can get 2 firsts for Justin Fields.
Absolutely not.
I think you're undervaluing a quarterback, which as a defensive coordinator does not shock me whatsoever. But that's just me.
But anyways, if we're being honest, like if we didn't spend a bunch of picks to get him, would you trade him for one pick? Yes.
Yeah, 100%. But we traded a bunch of picks to get him. And now we have the number one overall pick, which is a chance for us to right our franchise. And do we think that we can win a Super Bowl with Justin Fields? I think we could. But when you have, you want to call him the black TJ Watt, we have the black Drew Brees sitting at number one.
Does it help you, Mr. Pace? Does it help you any to put Young on that team with nobody to give the ball to? Like, that quarterback doesn't change anything.
Not necessarily right away.
Solve the best weakness we had on defense with Jalen.
Mr. Pace, with all due respect, I understand what Williams is saying. However, I must say that if we want to win a Super Bowl, you have to have a generational quarterback. I'm not saying Justin Fields is not. I'm just saying we need to think about possibly taking somebody who we are 100% certain could be the next big thing in the NFL.
On top of that, attention also that if you spend the number one overall pick back after you gave away other picks to get Justin Fields, it's going to make you look retarded. So do with that information as you may. Just saying.
I would also like to argue that you could possibly think about going offensive line here, which is not the worst decision in the world. Obviously, like I said, I think the more talented side of the ball, or the more talented pieces that are out there, is on the defensive side of the ball right away. But if we are going to stick with Justin Fields, then we do need to protect him in some order. Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. We have Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. Both are proven tackles, ready to go. I think they plug and play, and they give us a chance to actually make a deep run in the playoffs if we can protect Justin Fields.
Objection.
Objection. Go ahead.
All the defenses in that division up. So let's build the only good one. You know what I mean?
You think the Packers defense sucks?
I don't think anybody worries about them. You're about to lose people, not y'all, but they're about to lose pieces. So, I mean,
and Detroit got us. Detroit going to kill us with their pass rush next year.
That you don't know that.
I think we do with Aiden Hutchinson and them boys up in Detroit.
And yeah, maybe if they draft another one, but let's get one before them. Let's be a better defense than Detroit because their strength was not defense; it was offense. So let's be the contrarian to the division and build a defense.
With all due respect, Mr. Pace, I understand what Alan is saying. But at the end of the day, you win Super Bowls by having a quarterback and an offensive line to protect said quarterback.
How's that working out for Green Bay?
Hey, listen, Green Bay won one in 2010. The Lions look stout, and they're protecting Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm. That's why we need
Kirk Cousins.
defensive linemen.
Do the Vikings? You want to talk about our division, right?
Right.
Does Minnesota have a good offensive line?
Sort of.
Okay, and they did well. What do they have that we don't? Right, their defense isn't anything that's like crazy better than ours.
But their defense is even worse than what our defense is. So let's continue to build and not let them catch us.
Pace your thoughts so far. Give us a little. Where are you thinking of going? What are you leaning towards at this moment in time?
I like where both of your heads are at. I understand the need for an interior defensive lineman. I don't know if I want to entertain the idea of drafting Bryce Young. Justin Fields did just break a bunch of rushing records this year.
There would be a lot of backlash from fans too if we were to move on from Justin.
Exactly. He's a good sell. The fans come to see Justin Fields. He's an enjoyable football player to watch. I think while defense is very important, I do believe maybe not necessarily with this pick, but we need to get an offensive tackle eventually. But I also think the other thing that needs to be addressed is that we need to find ourselves a true number one receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. Obviously, we traded.
I don't think Darnell Mooney is going to be our number one here going.
Well, we basically traded a first round pick this year for Chase Claypool at the end of the day too, which he hasn't panned out to what we expected thus far.
But
I mean, if we're looking for a wide receiver, I think Jordan Addison is the surest thing at wide receiver in this draft. And obviously, we'd be crazy to take him at number one, but I mean, it does bring up the option of us possibly trading back. And obviously, we're not at this moment in time, but is that something that you would entertain if we could get 2 first rounders and maybe a couple picks next year for this pick?
I think it's certainly something that's worth entertaining. I mean, we could trade back to a team like Seattle, and maybe they would entertain trading away like DK Metcalf for for us to move back and not as many picks, but we could get an established receiver who is obviously a deep playmaking threat with elite speed.
Pair him up with Justin.
Even if we do move back and get DK, we know we're drafting defense.
Well, obviously, if we trade 1-1 back and get an offensive player in return, then yes, we would go defense, pick one.
So, Alan, just to play the hypothetical game, obviously, if we were to trade back to 5 and take, let's say we get 5 and 20 and DK Metcalf in return, who are you looking at 5?
Who I'll take at 5. And we're going to go under the assumption that Jalen is no longer there.
I would say that the assumption would be Seattle's not taking a quarterback, so they're probably going Will or Jalen. I think your best picks are going to be Miles Murphy, Brian Breezy, somewhere. I mean,
so I'm leaning towards Miles Murphy, but I'm also entertaining the idea of a corner at 5.
You thinking Joey Porter or
either Porter, Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez. I mean, there's a bunch of people, but because a bunch of them, that makes me think that we can hold off until 20.
Yeah, so makes sense. I really think it's probably a good idea for us to get I think we should go left tackle here at 5 if we do trade back.
Yeah,
and then at 20, we could go a defensive back.
I just checked the lines. Unfortunately, there are no trade offers for us at number 1. So, and obviously our time with the being on the clock is coming up. So, Ryan, we need to pick. Who are we taking at number 1?
Okay. When is our next pick? 20?
Do we have a second pick?
I don't think so.
How do I not know if we have a second pick? I'm a horrible.
Because you just said you traded the first pick in the second.
Wow, that was hypothetical. We got 20 seconds. We don't have another first round pick.
We do not have another first round pick.
No, I think we go Jalen Carter.
I believe we should get our best interior defensive lineman with our first round pick.
Jalen Carter is off the board.